Welcome along, everybody, to Game 3 Luna on this Monday. I'm here welcomed by the two teams of Serenity Senate and Blue Bayou Zoo, and I'm also welcoming War Leader, my co-commentator. Welcome to the draft.
So far we're seeing some bans. We're seeing the Xin Zhao and the Lulu and Morgana are the bans from Serenity Senate. BBZ is going to take away Vladimir, Malzahar, and Kindred.
These teams, they came in with immediate bans. Now, this is obviously going to be an interesting matchup to me because Serenity Senate is simultaneously the team that took down UB from their reign of terror, but also gave the first win over to skill-based. BBZ is the team that's been struggling to try and take down UB in the past. Now, obviously, I'm pretty sure they did take their win the first time that they played this matchup. BBZ did. So we'll see how these teams have grown, see if there's been significant improvement on either side. Volibear locked in for the side of Serenity Senate. Very good flex pick. Very big RLS favorite right there.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've kind of seen two different Serenity Senate show up to play in these different games, so I'm really curious to see which one shows up today, because this is a really tight matchup. Both of these teams are 5-3, near the top of the table, looking to separate from the middle pack.
Yeah, indeed, and there's that Rakan and Lilia locked in, so it's kind of some new tools coming up from the side of BBZ. I don't think that either of these have been picked out. Obviously, we have Songo moving away from the league's favorite team onto BBZ instead, but no, is going to be filling in for the support role today. I believe Orphic had a very long shift that he had to go and deal with, and we're going to be having Songo instead. Tristana being hovered on the side of Serenity Senate and is locked in. Now that Lilia looking into a Volibear, jungler's perspective, how do you feel about that one?
So obviously the Volibear is going to be much stronger early, but Lilia has a much faster clear speed, so essentially the Lilia is going to want to stay really far away from the Volibear and clear at a faster rate. Just try and generate a lead through camps. The Volibear is going to be the one that's more pressured to make a play. Lilia's going to scale up better throughout the game, but honestly, I think it's pretty even because of that. Both of these junglers have strengths that they can play to, and if they play to those strengths, they can find themselves out ahead of the other.
And we do see the Xayah locked in, fulfilling that Xayah Rakan bot lane. And we see Tiki being given over the Orianna. Very, very solid pick. I think Tiki's had some very nice performances so far this whole season on that Orianna. So comfort pick picked up there. Very safe blind. And we see the Xayah locked in for the side of BBZ. Now, I have some harsh opinions on Xayah this patch, but I'm interested to see what Tef decides to do with her. As we go into the second phase of bans, Alistar being taken away, trying to avoid some pressure in this bot lane with that Tristana. Obviously, Nautilus, another option that could be taken away. But yeah, no, just quick composition so far. A lot of secondary engage so far for BBZ with that Lilia and with that Rakan, whereas it looks like Serenity wants to be the team to jump in with that Orianna ball, with that Stormbringer, and try to dictate these fights, whereas BBZ maybe wants to take it a little bit slower, obviously. Xayah likes to be ran at, gets those feather down behind. There's that Nautilus ban.
Yeah, I think these compositions are both really interesting so far. Serenity Senate has a lot of great dive tools, and nothing goes better with a dive than a shockwave. Meanwhile, on the side of BBZ, like you said, a lot of secondary engage. Xayah has a great amount of self-deal. Xayah Rakan is a pretty classic bot lane. They both get synergies from each other. Last ban from Serenity Senate is going to be Aurelia, taking that away from Jaffe. Just taking away a couple really strong picks that allow Jaffe to carry the game. Makes sense to me.
Jaffe's had some monster performances on that Irelia so far this season. I'm not surprised to see that banned away. I am surprised to see it go through first round completely untouched. Jaffe seems so comfortable on that pick so far, willing to pick it blind, I'm pretty sure. But no, there's the Camille, there's the Irelia, putting a lot of focus towards that top side of the map now from Serenity. It's going to be choice of BBZ to see how they want to fill out this composition. Now the Pantheon, and is that looking at top lane? That feels like a Jaffe pick to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a weird pick. We haven't seen one in so long. Something that's becoming a little more traditional is this Mumu coming out from Serenity Senate. That can go jungle or support. But this Pantheon, I mean, it's going to have to go mid or top. It definitely seems like something that Jaffe would want to play. Maybe really likes to match up into Volibear. But at the same time, I think from the mid lane, it has a lot of roaming potential. And it probably is really good into Orianna, who has a pretty low damage output early game. If Pantheon can get on top of her, can do a lot of damage, and maybe it's just a flex pick. Can really go anywhere.
No,
yeah.
a a lot of options available. It isn't going to be in that support role. Obviously, we see the Rakan, but now 2 tanks brought out from the side of Serenity Senate in what is going to be an Amumu support, an Ornn top lane, that Volibear going into the jungle, and this backline of Orianna and Tristana is going to be what Serenity Senate is going to be relying on to try and break this relatively squishy composition so far of BBZ, taking control of those engages with those front lines with the Ornn Horn, and it is going to be the Pantheon going into the mid lane for red. Jax picked up for Jaffe, and this is a game that is BBZ saying, hey, we're going to be able to take you guys in lane, we're going to be able to play this more effectively than you guys, we're going to have better macro calls, and if we get ahead early, you guys are never coming back.
Yeah, I actually think that BBZ's comp is a little strange. It really feels like they're going to have to slam early and often and just prove their individual skill to make this composition work. I think Serenity Senate has a much more linear out to this game and how to win this game. They just have a much more linear win condition. So honestly, I really like the composition they put together. And I think unless BBZ just goes crazy in these lanes, Serenity Senate should have an advantage.
Yeah, BBZ going into these laning phases is definitely going to be relying very heavily on the individual skill of these players and of the team skill. We're going to see that rolling into game now. BBZ versus Serenity. This is actually going to be an influential game. This is, I believe, playing for second place in the standings. It might be third place, playing for one of those top podium spots between these two teams. A lot of pressure on the shoulders of these players, and it's interesting to see BBZ kind of load up with so much confidence and say, okay, we're going to take this Pantheon, we're going to take this Jax, and we're going to play better.
Yeah, I think the eyes in this early game are going to be on Red and how he abuses Pantheon's early game potential into Tiki's Orianna. Red is going to find himself being not as effective as the game goes on, so it'll be really interesting to see how this laning phases go. And likewise with that, I think it's going to be really interesting to see where these junglers go, because Dax is probably going to want to farm a lot, but also it'll be interesting to see which sides that Dax plays to in order to support with counter ganking. Probably won't go for many ganks unless there's something really obvious, because loses most of the 2v2s that this Volibear is involved with.
Yeah, no, it's a bit of a 2v2 lack, I think, on the side of BBZ. They're going to be relying on Dax just playing around, knowing where the Volibear is, probably tracking along with that Pantheon who's going to have this lane priority in the mid lane, get those wards down, follow the Volibear around. And I think one of the eyes that we haven't been necessarily keeping an eye on is Jax in that top lane, who is going to have to win lane effectively, split push effectively, but we have seen Jaffe do that effectively in the past.
For sure. I mean, we've seen Jaffe be able to carry games, but meanwhile the Amumu's going to find an early engage, Songo going to disengage, but take a lot of damage down done to BBZ.
Yeah, no, immediately, and just seeing where this pressure comes from, the Amumu is so strong at this level 1, having access to both of those Qs. The Ignite is burnt down, Tef already losing the potion, and we're seeing a lot of action at this level 1 now. Jaffe taking the fight in the top lane with P-Sweezy. Nothing really happening, but I am worried for the side of BBZ. Just, I don't know that Xayah is going to be able to take the pressure from this Tristana Amumu comp. And if they start to run into problems with Volibear as well, that is going to be a weak point for certain on the side of BBZ. Now, Jaffe trying to go in on P-Sweezy, get this lane going, and this is very classic Jaffe, just taking these early leads, trying to go for a lot of these trades, and it's been very effective so far.
Yeah, Jaffe has been absolutely bodying P-Sweezy in the top lane in these early trades, really taking advantage of Jax's cooldowns and getting Conqueror stacked up and using the counter strike to dodge a bunch of minion auto attacks.
In under
Might just
turret
find
now.
a kill.
Does find the solo kill on that Jax. Now that is crucial for the side of BBZ. We were saying that they need to be winning these lanes on individual skill, and that was completely solo from the side of Jaffe now. As we do see Frozen Incursion trying to set up a gank onto this bot lane, and we were worried about Volibear maybe having a lot of pressure down here. Aldi walking up, starting to look for potential bandage toss. Ward is probably going to get rid of that lane gank, but there is a slow push now. Engage comes in onto Songo, and Frozen Incursion is going to show on the ward. Tef and Songo are simply going to play safe, and I don't think we're going to see too much of a reaction here.
Yeah, so far in terms of the jungle matchup, Lilia being a couple camps ahead. I think that's actually 3 camps ahead of Volibear, as Lilia opted to full clear, while Frozen Incursion tried for a lane gank that didn't ultimately go to anything. Lilia going to move towards the bottom Scuttle Crab, pick that up. She'll be on vision, but should secure it pretty safely.
And Tiki's in a risky situation now. We see rotate from the bot lane of Serenity going on top of Dax. Now Dax caught in a 3v1. The flash in from Songo to try and save his jungler. Damage goes down. Halos immediately falling to the point and click CC of Red. The good reaction there. Smite comes down. I believe Frozen Incursion is going to take away that crab and deny the double crab away from Dax. But great reactive play there from Songo to get there in time. But now getting caught out by Ollie. Almost certainly have a quick dash over the wall. But no, dealing damage on top of Ollie. Yes, Songo does decide to get out of there, and that is going to be a trade of crabs, but a second kill over to the side of BBZ.
Yeah, I think that it was a really good call, or really well played by Frozen Incursion to pick up that crab. It turns a pretty disastrous play into not the worst thing in the world. Meanwhile, I really well played from Songo to be able to get there in time. Dax looking for P-Sweezy on this top side.
Just now Jaffe getting the chase down. Good Dyrus flash there from P-Sweezy. Get over that wall, get out. See flash, very easy to fail. You're not paying attention. You can definitely get yourself into trouble there, but no. Immediately gets out of there, P-Sweezy, saving that flash for a key moment. And that's just another resource burned on the side of Serenity to try and stay out of danger.
For sure. So we're seeing this Lilia get quite ahead of this Volibear, even though the double crab was denied. In terms of CS on the other lanes, P-Sweezy actually has a CS lead into Jaffe's Jax. Red picking up a nice 10 CS lead in the mid lane over the Orianna. Bot's just about even with a few minions dying. Jaffe, though, is going to flash on top of P-Sweezy with no flash available, going to get knocked down by that lamppost.
Stuff to Jaffe, just aware. The dragon does fall on the other side of the map. Dax still being on the top side, but just great awareness there. Jaffe understanding, okay, the flash is down. This is an advantage I have. That's the strength of that gank from Dax in that top lane, getting Jaffe some kind of advantage and again pushing it even further. And now TP unavailable. Jaffe has that map pressure right now with that TP. Now has the level 6 ready up, and if there is a fight somewhere, Jaffe's going to be available. Jaffe is going to take that wave, push into tower, deny XP on the Ornn, and this top gap is actually starting to get quite big.
Yeah, if Jaffe keeps up this pace, I'm not sure Serenity Senate can do anything. P-Sweezy just needs to stop the bleeding and stop the bleeding right now. It's so difficult. You kind of just need to handshake most of the minions and let Jax push you into your tower and call Frozen Incursion to prevent a dive. Songo looking to get aggressive.
Say that Frozen Incursion has found himself in the bot lane, immediately flash cleanse away. There's so much damage out of Tef there with so many feathers stacked up. There's that TP we were talking about coming down in the bot lane. Red throwing the ulti out, going straight on top of Ollie. The double kill down for Dax. It's going to be a third kill from the side of BBZ, and very proactive play to see that gank and get on top of the immediate re-engage, picking up 3 more kills and pushing this gold lead all the way up to 3k.
Yeah, and Jaffe might just kill P-Sweezy under his tower. Ooh, a little too aggressive. Jaffe's actually going to go down.
Yeah, no, P-Sweezy getting caught with that Q. We saw that in the previous game. Ornn Q can sometimes cause some weird situations on those dives if you're not ready for that obstruction to come in, but I think Jaffe just got caught clicking on the turret when P-Sweezy was behind it. P-Sweezy is very happy to take that kill. Obviously, Jaffe has this teleport to equalize, and now P-Sweezy kind of caught in a difficult situation. There's the E already burned. Jaffe going to go in with the stun. We're going to see a repeat, a second dive, but not a chance for P-Sweezy to survive this one as Jaffe gets his revenge.
Second time's the charm. Jaffe getting a little too excited, thinking he saw an opportunity to take out P-Sweezy, but P-Sweezy able to avoid the first dive, but then overstays, and that teleport advantage comes in pretty clutch. In general, BBZ's been firing on all cylinders. They have a lead in just about every lane, except the bot lane, where the Xayah is pretty decently behind Halos' Tristana. But we saw how much Tef can peel for themselves, and just was able to negate the gank from Frozen Incursion long enough for the other members of BBZ to get there. Frozen Incursion's getting caught out.
Now just immediately getting caught, like you say, by both of these members of BBZ. They knew he was going to be there, and that is a 4th kill over to the Jax of Jaffe. And that has to be very, very alerted and on the radar for Serenity. You have to try and find a way to deal with this, as this Herald is almost certainly going to go into Jaffe's hands for that top lane, pick up some more plates, and this is starting to get frightening. You're saying that the lead bot lane is pretty much all the Serenity has to bank off of right now. Obviously, Tiki isn't horribly far behind and about 700 gold deficit there in that mid lane, but bot lane's not even that far apart. The 3 assists are relatively large for Tef. They're keeping relatively close in CS, and Zaya's biggest blunder at this point is that her laning phase at this point is quite weak. Past level 3, she starts to really run into problems. I say this, Jaffe, P-Sweezy getting into quite the fight in the top lane, and that is another shutdown kill for P-Sweezy, just catching Jaffe unaware.
Yeah, Jaffe's just trying to push this lead a little too far. The initial engage was fine, but completely disrespecting Ornn's fire just gets caught up with so much damage, and because of the wave state, look how many minions are being denied to Jaffe. Doesn't have the teleport available now. That is actually a massive gold swing in top lane.
Yeah, no, losing out on all those minions, all that XP, and obviously there is that Herald on the map. Jaffe is not by any means in a dire situation, but I think that's more than half of the lead. Well, probably all of the lead at this point, honestly. Down the better part of with what's that, 13 CS. He's up 2 kills, but you know that's only a small lead when it gets down to it. There's the plate there, but Ornn is going to scale. Ornn is going to let his team scale, and if you can't keep yourself ahead of it, then it starts to get really frightening. And I think if Jaffe continues to misjudge plays like this, it could run into problems. But for the meantime, that Jack's still going to be a scary threat. Gold across the board is in favor of BBZ. As we see, rolling into this 10-minute mark, we've got 30 seconds on the Dragon spawn.
Yeah, so Jaffe's only now 300 up on an Ornn that maybe was up like 1,000 on just a couple deaths ago. The jungle, though, is where a huge gap is. We're seeing the Lilia out clear the Volibear so much, and the Volibear's been unable to find any proactive plays with what should be a stronger early game. So, in terms of that, that's going to be a huge swing in the favor of BBZ. Red has been able to get to good fights utilizing the ultimate, and the bot lane kind of just needs to survive. Zaya Rakan can be lane dominant sometimes, but into Tristana and Amumu, it is enough to just survive and soak waves. But all of BBZ is here to catch an unsuspecting Serenity set at bot lane, and Red is going to pick up a kill onto Ollie. And meanwhile, Frozen Incursion looking to trade back on the top side onto Jaffe. Between the turrets, Jaffe's actually going to find his way out of this one.
Yeah, completely untouched, and now that is 2 kills onto the bot side. Tef picking up a couple more assists, more kills onto Dax, more kills onto Red. The lead gets builder. The lead gets bigger on every single side. The Dragon picked up. We're looking at a Cloud Soul right now, which is a huge option for the side of BBZ. Obviously, Rakan loves that. Pantheon loves that. Lilia adores that. There's so many great champions to be scaling up with that Cloud Soul. And this lead, 4K at the 11-minute mark, which, you know, by no means is game ending, but it's something that, like you say, needs to be plugged soon. There's so much gold being lost on the side of Serenity, and I think that this Herald is just going to be another marker on that downward graph. Red is already here to react. They have caught him out on the ward. This Rift Herald is going to be connecting with the turret. Lots of plating gold going over to BBZ. Tef is going to start to make back this small deficit that there was in the bot lane. And this goes from bad to worse for the side of Serenity.
Oh yeah, real quick, we're seeing Red to be really effective on these roams. Meanwhile, the top matchup is actually swung into the favor of P-Sweezy. With the Bramble Vest and the plated steel caps picked up, it's hard for Jax to output the same damage that he was putting out earlier. So, temporary reprieve for P-Sweezy as an awkward skirmish goes down in the river.
Yeah, no, just going back and forth, keeping track of where Frozen Incursion is. Tiki honestly has been a very solid member for this game specifically, but all this whole season, Tiki has been solid for Serenity, and just so far has stayed safe, has stayed out of the trouble that the rest of Serenity has run into so far, and they're going to have to bank on that Orianna having, you know, get a lot of farm, get some plating gold, try and stay ahead, and get some massive shockwaves to hopefully find their way through some very treacherous fights that are going to be coming up around this next dragon. It's very much on the back of Tiki right now.
Absolutely. I also think that P-Sweezy might be able to come in pretty huge, although most of the gold has gone towards itemizing into the matchup. about 1900 gold going into just matchup-oriented stuff as we look at ganking top lane.
Gank in the top lane, TP immediately reacting from Tiki. There's the ulti down from P-Sweezies. He starts to get very low. Jaffe dodges the ultimate. There's the sleep down. Now's the time for Dax to re-engage. Gets the W down onto Tiki, dodging the ultimate. Jaffe Qs forward and gets out of the Orianna ultimate. It is a double kill for Dax. Great execution for BBZ to grab that double kill in the top lane, and there is no side of the map safe from this reign of terror that has been BBZ.
Yeah, meanwhile, bot lane's going to take the first turret. That fight in the top lane was on such a knife's edge. It could have gone either way, but multiple ultimates from the side of Serenity Senate were dodged with some good play from the side of Jaffe and Dax, and they executed that flight in a flawless manner in order to take the 2-0.
I think we're looking at all three outer turrets starting to get crumbled and fall for the side of Serenity. Red is going to finally finish off this mid turret. That is a clean, what is that, almost 1k gold to the full side there, plus all the kills, plus the cross map. There's so much going BBZ's way right now. And on top of this, they have the late game insurance of that Xayah. Xayah is happy to get run at by an Amumu, by a Volibear, by an Ornn who just has to waddle towards her. And I think Tef is going to be very, very happy to just sit there and say, hey, I'm going to auto, I'm going to throw out spells. This is going to be very comfortable if they do get to that late game situation. It's really scary for Serenity. They need to start finding some map plays. They need to try and find somebody out of position, try and catch Dax right now would be huge, try and catch Red, make some big 3v1 plays, try and find something to get some gold onto somebody. But right now they're just getting attacked on every single front, and BBZ is looking amazing.
Yeah, BBZ's mounted almost an 8,000 gold lead. Jaffe's getting caught out in the Rift Herald pit.
Talking
And
about
Frozen
catches.
Incursion's picking that one up.
Yeah, taking that Rift Herald away, that's a good way to do it. Obviously, they could have picked up that kill, would have been good too. Songo pressuring the mid lane, getting Tiki off that wave. That is a good way to find some gold back. Obviously, Jaffe just taking that Rift Herald on his own is going to get caught out, is going to lose it. But now they know that the Frozen Incursion was on the top side of the map. There's the engage immediately onto Hollows. Barely flashing out of the way of that bowling ball. Now Dax trying to catch up, get the sleep down, but surprise, Tef is there on the flank. Immediately going to get the kill onto Hollows. Ollie is in no better of a situation there. The ultimate goes down, is maybe going to peel away, but no, the Ignite surely will finish that one off. Red going very low. There's the ultimate. Red on a sliver of health. Barely survives. Dax still saving the ultimate. Goes down onto Tiki. Song goes now on the chase. Going under turret. Tef trying to get some damage over the wall, and Dax is going to take the dominant kill as they move towards the dragon.
Yeah, it almost feels like BBZ's kind of just showing off at this point. They know they have complete ownership over this map, every single part of it. They're going to send Jaffe to solo the Rift Herald. They're going to send 4 members down to kill bot lane because they can. And if you're on the side of Serenity Senate, you're just kind of waiting for the storm to be over because it does not stop for BBZ. Frozen Incursion's going to take a look at this top lane.
This is the type of play we were saying they need to try and do. Here's the 3v1 onto Jaffe. Does manage to dodge the Call of the Forge God and is going to try and make his way away. Now Ollie is on pursuit. The Q does not connect, but surely Jaffe putting himself on the outside of this lane. This inside line for Frozen Incursion is going to let him catch up, but no, they have to disengage before they get to the turret. Rift Herald does start to get channeled, and now this is still 3 people on the top side of the map. You get this kill and it's good, but now you're putting 3 people up, and I think this might even be a situation where BBZ can start to turn this defense as they start to roam all 5 of their members up. No reaction from either of the carries so far of Serenity, and all of a sudden Serenity's the ones that have to make their way away from this. Dax doing so much to Frozen Incursion. They're trying to give this kill over to Tef, and I think they will get it eventually. There's the auto attack going down, and Dax now using the speed of this Lilia to just harass the poor members of Serenity as another kill goes down over to Dax. Godlike on this Lilia, and this cannot feel any better if you're a BBZ fan. If you're looking at this game, you're seeing them play completely comfortably. You can hear the laughter. They're playing such an amazing game so far, macro-wise. They're staying on top of everything. They capitalize, maybe even a good situation for once, and again, a good situation turning bad here for the side of Serenity as Songo starts to go in. I don't think there's any way Tiki's going to be able to find his way out of here as Tef and Jaffe are on this top tower. And where do you go right now if you're Tiki? Trying to get an execute off, and I think Tiki's going to get away with it, but there's still top inner tower gold going in, and no! Red manages to snipe out the kill, and this is BBZ looking unbelievably dominant.
Yeah, there's nothing Serenity Senate can do at this point. the gold lead for BBZ is 10,000 gold at 18 minutes. An absolute dominant display. Serenity Senate has been doing their best to look for opportunities, but a big
Dax.
opportunity for Dax with a big sleep onto two.
Does
but
go down on a Frozen Incursion. Red goes in to get the follow-up kill, but it is going to be the shutdown over to Frozen Incursion. That is gold onto the volley bear. I don't think that that's going to be enough to make any sort of big swing at the moment. I say that P-Sweezy starting to catch up on Tef. There's the big E damage coming up from Tef as P-Sweezy starts to go very low. That is the situation that you want, but you need that kill to go onto Tristana. And instead, 0-5 on that poor Tristana. No chance for Halos to get any gold from that. And Frozen Incursion is going to walk away with the big shutdown, but is that going to be anything towards enough?
I'm not sure it's going to be. There's even still, BBZ still has a 9.7k gold lead over the side of Serenity Senate. They're gonna need to pull out a miracle. None of their damage threats have any gold. They're both sitting on an item and boots. Meanwhile, you look at the threats on the side of BBZ. Tef has Lord Dominic's Essence Reaver completed for themselves. Meanwhile, Red is sitting on two plus items. Lilia has 10 stacks on a Magi's and has most of the way built to an Hourglass. The Jax is also looking to finish his second item pretty soon here. It's really hard to see a silver lining in this game for Serenity Senate.
Yeah, they have to play around their damage sources right now as they only fall further behind, and now Ollie trying to find something, but now here's the situation that you want a Serenity Senate. Here comes the full engage down onto Red, who has been caught, has that big shutdown. Who's going to get it? It goes over to Ollie, and that's not what you want as BBZ. Very happy to try and take this re-engage. 3v4 even would have been comfortable, but they do not decide to risk it. They've decided they've given over enough gold for the time being, but plays like that is what you need to be doing right now if you're Serenity Senate. Just finding people playing too aggressive and catch them on warding, catch them on map position, but unfortunately that kill does go over to the Amumu, which once again, Ori was there, Trist was there. You need to give that gold over to a priority, and it doesn't make it there, and so that kill immediately loses half of its value.
Yeah, I mean, since the original days of League of Legends, there's a lot less importance in the kill steal, but when it comes to coordinated play, it's really important that you prioritize gold on specific champions. And in this case, it's the Orianna and the Tristana that really need to be picking up things like this huge shutdown that they just found. It's almost a miracle pick they find on the Red, but because it goes over to the Amumu, it's not even going to complete an item just yet. And a bit of a missed opportunity.
Maybe a couple of missed opportunities now with the kill onto Dax. Dax losing that shutdown. Alice being able to fend himself off. But yeah, that's both of those big shutdowns just erased now. And the only one who's left is Tef. They're sitting with a relatively large bounty, obviously, for just the 2-0. But the amount of farm that they've been able to pick up has been nice. But that Zaya's going to be hard to kill. And when you've completely burnt through those two, and I like this play, they call it, they know it's going to be Cloud Dragon over to the side of BBZ. And BBZ has just now noticed that there's suddenly all these people missing. Is this going to be burnable for the side of Serenity? They are deciding that no, they have to disengage off this Baron. They don't want to just leash it. There's the ultimate going in from Red to get on top of that Baron, maybe follow up for the chase. Yes, is going to go in, but now on the bot side, Jaffe taking a trade with P-Sweezy, and this is going to be a Baron turn for the side of BBZ. TP is available, and I think Serenity has to try and make a stand here and now.
Doesn't look like they're going to. They're going to back towards their base. I really like the play from Serenity Senate. It was honestly really close to working. The only thing that was missing is that Halos wasn't there on time. Without Tristana's DPS, they're not able to burn down the dragon in the time it takes BBZ to evaporate a dragon. Teleport's coming into the bot side, though.
And instead the re-engage turns onto Jaffe. Red is here in time and just immediately blows up that Amumu. Ults go over the wall to Jaffe, who just flashes out over the dragon wall. And now has left Red on his own 1v4 to try and get out of here. And this is going to be a kill going over. We're talking about kill prioritization. Who's going to get it? Tiki flashing forward, does not quite pick it up, but I think that auto attack will take down Red, and that is a kill going over to the Orianna. A 1-for-1 in the 2v4 situation for Serenity.
Yeah, I think if you're Serenity, you're happy enough taking the 1-for-1. I know it's a rough result considering what kind of situation it was, but I think you have to take what you get, and getting the first kill onto one of these damage dealers can hopefully go a long way getting Orianna towards whatever she's building with that needlessly large rod. Looks like maybe a Seraph's. Yeah, we're seeing that BBZ is getting a little overconfident multiple times, and while they have what's nearly an insurmountable gold lead, it is possible. And for a miracle comeback to happen for Serenity Senate, it's going to be off the back of them taking advantage of every mistake that BBZ makes, and that could be the start of it.
Yeah, no, and they are starting to make that comeback. It feels like it's almost started a little bit too late, but they are getting there. This game, obviously, completely turnable. There's big ultimates on the side of Serenity. They can take these fights in their favor if they can find good situations. Right now, they're waiting out that Baron buff. They haven't lost too much to it yet. It's going to be about, can Serenity continue to find those picks? Is BBZ going to start to smarten up and play to how they were playing for the beginning of this game? Obviously, that gold lead, that 10k gold lead, is only insurmountable if you decide to continue the play that got you that 10k gold lead. And so far, BBZ hasn't. They've lightened up. They're playing very loose. They're playing very aggressive, getting caught in situations like this. Dax has to burn Flash there for no reason. There was nothing he was pressuring. And now that's a good situation there. That's Serenity getting a Flash. That's Serenity getting something that they have no right getting. There's no way that there should be any pressure there from Serenity. It's a 3v3. They know they don't win that, and yet they're able to find something, and that's going to be huge for Serenities. Now we see a fight in the top lane. P-Sweezy really winning against Red here. Red going down to half HP. Now Dax has to be here on the follow-up. Olivine in the top lane, nothing happening, and now Tiki has to try and defend from Jaffe, which I don't think anybody wants to defend from Jaffe right now.
No, you can't get too close to that Jax, or he's going to jump right on top of you. And a frail champion like Orianna, no stopwatch available, would be evaporated. So Tiki's going to smartly keep his distance from this Jax, but Rakan could change the story. We're seeing a full siege from the side of BBZ. Every lane is being Baron empowered. It's going to be hard. Oh, but the Baron actually expires right as the minions are getting to the towers in all of these lanes. So BBZ's looking to try and continue some of the siege, but they're going to have to back off.
And a very crucial defense there for Serenity. If there's anything that's going to buy them this game, it has to be time. There's no way they can win it in the current state of the game right now. If you get to the point where you're starting to even out on items, you have some power spikes on your champions, that's the way you're going to find some way back into this game. And so far, Serenity really has taken this mid game by storm. I think this has been Serenity's mid game. They have been playing, I think, better than BBZ so far, and they have been able to stop this gold lead from growing way too much, getting totally out of control, and now these ornaments start to roll in. And this is when the Ornn starts to get powerful. That ultimate is so strong in these fights. That extra gold that you're getting out of just him getting XP is so strong. And I think BBZ needs to be conscious of that and maybe understand there might be a timer in this game. There might be a point where we can't win fights. As it looks like they are trying to make proactive plays immediately onto Hollows. There's the ultimate. Great play from Songo as pushes away Dax, but I think that's going to be a kill over to Tef. Killing spree picked up for that Xayah, and it's easy to say that, you know, Serenity's been playing well, but the wallets are still enormous on the side of BBZ.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Serenity Senate were just playing patiently in their base, turtling up for so long that Kalos just gets a little antsy and just steps a little too far up in the mid lane, which means that there's no possibility of contesting the Cloud Soul. So that's a big permanent advantage going to the side of BBZ, adding to that nearly 14,000 gold lead. This has become really challenging once again. We were starting to see a silver lining, maybe a path for Serenity Senate to get out of this one, but that death by Halos could be crucial, giving over the Cloud Soul. No chance for a fight.
Yeah, no, and this Cloud Soul, unlike that Baron buff, there's no timer on this. This is permanent. We were saying there's so many champions that absolutely love this Cloud Soul on the side of BBZ. They're going to be happy to have it. It's obviously, it's no Ocean Soul, but very happy to have this on the side of BBZ, and it's going to make every fight that much harder. BBZ can take 2 fights in the time that it's going to take Serenity to take 1. So you have to play these fights absolutely perfectly for your Serenity. You get your 1 fight that's good, you have to play it perfect.
For sure, there's going to really be one shot, one opportunity for Serenity Senate to get back into this one, but when they choose to take it is up for debate. BBZ has gone back to the sieging play, even though there's no Baron. There's kind of no objectives right now for BBZ to take, so they're just going to siege up in this bot lane. and it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. Dax is probably going to have to look for some kind of engage if they really want to crack this, but not a whole lot of wave clear coming down from the side of Serenity Senate, but enough to stop the tower from taking too much damage.
This 1-4 split that they have is so crucial because the engage on the side of Serenity is that Ornn ult. There's so much follow-up engage. The Amumu obviously can get in on top of people if they're CC'd, can flash in, but really you want to start with that Ornn ulti. And Jaffe being able to take that Ornn into that top lane away from the threat is so good for BBZ as they now rotate towards Baron.
Yeah, sending just the Lilia and the Xayah over to Baron should be plenty to take it. With only 2 champions going towards Baron from the side of BBZ, there's no chance for Serenity Senate to pull their members over there. They're noticing just now that something's afoot, but they realize that they can't get there in time, and they're going to try and make a play onto Red.
Now, is Red going to see this coming? Yes, he is going to just take the safe TP out. This is going to be a reset and a walk to base for the side of BBZ, and I'm loving that Tef still yet to pick up their Mythic. I think that is intentional. I'm not trying to trash talk the builder or anything like that, but I'm really interested to know where the plan is for this, or where this one's planning on going. Maybe Xayah to Tef feels like one of those champions really doesn't want that Mythic. But I think that this could be the end of the game if you're Serenity Senate. You could be looking down the face of the cliff right now as you see this massive team, BBZ, walking forward, and there's only so many turrets in between them and the end of the game.
Yep, it's going to be up to Serenity Senate to make an absolute masterful defensive play as BBZ begin the onslaught. This Baron has just been taken. It's going to last a whole lot longer. Let's see what Serenity Senate can do in the defense.
I feel like BBZ has almost felt scared to engage so far, and like we were saying, they have a lot of secondary engage with that Rakan, with the Jax, with the Pantheon, with that Lilia especially, but they don't have any primary engage, and I think with that Xayah especially, you're planning on the other team taking those aggressive fights, and so far, they just haven't been. They haven't been in the position to, and a team like this really is happy to get fought into, to kite backwards, to take these fights where you're trying to get the engages, and there's the engage now onto Dax. Dax is out of position to try and get this away, and there's the shutdown going over to the Ornn. Now, can they make this engage work onto Jaffe? There's a tower going down in the mid lane, and Jaffe is able to turn this around, getting so much damage in the 2v1 here, is going to pick up the first kill onto Ollie, and that open inhibitor in the mid lane, Jaffe just walks away feeling so confident, and kill picked up.
Yeah, it was really close. Serenity Senate almost turned something amazing there, but you can see on the corner of the screen, Tiki found a shockwave onto Red, and it looks like that he slightly over pursued it, and as a result is now waiting to respawn. 16 seconds on the Amumu, 18 seconds on the Orianna. I don't know if it's going to be in time as Halos is getting caught out. Big engage. Stormbringer comes down over the top, but the Jax falls at the start of this fight. One turret goes down, one turret to go. Songo's looking close, but Frozen Incursion's going to be the one to drop first. P. Sweezy walking away with very little health as the respawns come in. Here comes the reinforcements. Really low health bars on the side of BBZ as they look to take the Nexus. Red keeps healing HP with the power of that Gore Drinker as Songo surviving on almost no HP. P. Sweezy's going to find the first shutdown. Tef and Songo kiting back. There are so many minions that are on top of the Serenity Senate Nexus. Health bars on both sides so low. Shockwave comes down, takes out Songo, but the Winions are going to be the ones to take this game for the side of BBZ.
And who would have thought that the final member to finally get involved there was the Minions on the side of BBZ. A great effort by them, honestly taking that game slow and precise near the end of it there. We saw a little bit of a hiccup in the mid-game, maybe getting a little bit too excited, enjoying themselves a bit too much, but overall execution, we were worried about that Pantheon for the side, for Red. Played it amazingly, got so much pressure in that mid-game, was able to make sure that Tiki was shoved in under turret the whole time. Didn't really look for solo kills, just made sure that that bot lane got ahead. Dax was so far ahead. Jaffe made a lead of his own. This is BBZ playing to a T.
Yeah, they really just came into this game and sort of decided, we know that we can absolutely trash you guys in lane. So we're going to pick champions that can do that, and they got a really early lead. And in fact, a big amount of that lead was in the jungle. I think Dax had a really amazing performance, generating such a massive gold lead so early. But an absolute dominant game from BBZ. There were good plays at Serenity Senate. They actually looked like they could do things when down 14,000 gold. So Obviously, both of these teams are really good, some of the top teams in Luna, and we're going to have to see how Serenity Senate bounces back from a couple of tough losses now.
Well, we are going to be hearing from BBZ about how they feel about finally securing that second step on the podium in just a little bit. Don't go anywhere.
You're the light inside of me every night. I chase some dreams, ain't got time to make them see what we believe. You and me, yeah. Me, yeah. Me, yeah. Me, yeah. We believe. You and me, make them see what we
Hello, folks, and welcome back, Shargan Gummin. I have with me right now Jaffe, BBZ's top laner, who just had an amazing performance on Jax. He did pretty darn well getting to some really nice tower dives and some not so nice tower dives, but how do you feel that game went?
I think it went pretty well overall. I mean, I could have been a bit cleaner, but I did some cocky plays, and you know, like I try to make it fun, but it backfired a couple times.
You know, sometimes you just got to go for the fun play and it's just going to shoot you in the foot, but that's perfectly all right because, in all honesty, your guys' draft was really interesting. There was some discussion back in the green room just looking at yours versus Serenity Senate's. And Serenity's looked like it was going to be a bit of a problem for y'all towards the end part of the game, but y'all were able to pull out a pretty strong victory in this one.
Yeah, so, I mean, we saw that they had a bunch of R buttons, and, I mean, my specialty really, like every game, they have me split push, so we kind of split them up or have them send one or two for me, and that's where the other team usually like falls apart, where they have to send 2 or 3 for me and end up not getting anything. So like they sent 3 for me a couple times and they couldn't kill me. So I mean, that's where the fun is for me, I feel like.
It's yeah, I'll bet, like just getting that 3-man gank and you're like, oh no, call an ambulance, but not for me, kind of a situation.
Yeah, for real.
Yep. All right. Well, so with that, what was kind of like you like as that game started to progress, like was that your initial plan up against Serenity Center, or was it something that like you kind of just were like, you know what, in draft, let's just go ahead and go for this more kill crazy comp?
Well, usually what I think of is one, I'm gonna wreck my lane and then do my thing, and then like the rest of the team can do their thing. Honestly, most of the times I'm not really paying attention to what they're doing until they call for a TP or like, oh, I need help, TP. But yeah, honestly, most of the time I'm just doing my own thing.
Okay. Hey, you know, sometimes that's all you really need to worry about. It's like, look, I've top lane is an island. I know how y'all treat it, so I'm just gonna treat it like an island and ignore the rest of y'all, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so with that, you guys are picking up yet another win. That's going to put you guys ahead of Serenity Senate in the standings because you guys were both even at 5 and 3. So you are now, I believe, tied with HBK, and then that's going to put UB as the only other team that's ahead of y'all. What are some of your plans in order to make sure that you guys are the ones who come out on top in the finals?
Well, other than UB, because we're not facing UB anymore, I'm pretty sure we're gonna win all of the rest of the games because we beat them all already. So we're just gonna do it again.
All right. Hey, you know, sometimes you just got to run it down. Just get those wins. All right, Jeffy, thank you so much. Really appreciate
thank
it.
you.
You are very welcome. All right, folks, stick around. We'll be right back after a short break with our final game of the night, which is going to be Team Asworth versus Universal Basic Incomes. So don't go away.